If you're aiming at a DevOps engineer job title in 2026, stop. The title is dying. The work is getting fragmented everywhere, and you're aiming at a shrinking pool while there are 4 better paid roles hiring. Now, there are only 2 reasons why you need to know this. Number 1, if you're a career switcher right now, getting this target wrong can cost you 12 months. 12 months of learning the wrong shape of role, applying for the wrong job specs, and of course, getting these weirdly low offers. Number 2, and the market, if you've seen, is actually shifted. UK and both US, the listings for DevOps engineer roles are down by 18% on year. Platform engineer, however, listings are up by around 31%. SRE is up by 14%. Now, that's not me making up numbers, that's just the data. Now, I'll show you receipts in a minute. I'm going to give you 3 arguments. Then I'll handle the obvious counter arguments, because there are some good ones. Then I'll tell you exactly what to do instead. So just stay with me. The first argument. The title is fragmenting. The work isn't. Now, when companies advertised DevOps engineer in 2018, they meant one role. The person who glues developers and ops together, right? Developers and ops, pipelines, infrastructure, monitoring, on-call. In 2026 though, the same companies have split that role into 4. So for example, Stripe would not hire for DevOps engineers anymore. They hire platform engineers and site reliability engineers. Same for Spotify, same for Monzo. Even smaller UK shops, right? The 30 to 100 million revenue companies are now writing job specs that say platform or SRE explicitly. Now the work didn't disappear, you see, the title just got more stricter. And this matters because each of these roles wants you to be deeper in something and shallower in everything else. Now, a platform engineer is judged on developer experience. An SRE is judged on reliability and observability and metrics. A cloud engineer, on the other hand, is judged on cost and architecture, right? A security engineer is judged on attack surface. DevOps engineer is judged on what exactly? There we go. Now, point 1, the title is fragmented. Now, if you're aiming at it like it's still 2018, you're aiming at fewer jobs and lower offers. Argument 2. And I'm not gonna lie, this one's quite uncomfortable. Now hear this carefully. Generalists get squeezed by AI before specialists do. I want to be quite careful here. Now, I'm not in the camp that says AI is taking everyone's job tomorrow. That's nonsense, right? And people peddling are usually selling a course about it. Now, here's the reality. If you read a real DevOps engineer's job spec from 2024, for example, right, it says something like maintain CI/CD pipelines, manage Terraform modules, triage incidents, write runbooks, help developers get on board, right? Half of that list is the exact thing AI tooling is genuinely good at right now. Drafting Terraform, generating pipelines, writing runbooks, triaging loads, these kind of stuff. A senior platform engineer designing the developer experience for 200 engineers is not getting replaced. Trust me on that one. A junior generalist who copies Terraform from Stack Overflow and runs on call, that work is being eaten, right? And it's being eaten right now. The specialized roles are harder to compress because they're built on judgment, human judgment. Now, AI can write Terraform module. It can't stick in a sprint review and say, we should not build this. Here's why. That's the bit that pays you need to understand, right? There comes argument 3. And this is the one your wallet is going to care about, the salary ceiling. Now, in the UK right now, a senior DevOps engineer tops around 85 to 100k. A senior platform engineer is 100 to 120 or 130 even. A senior SRE at a mature company, you're looking at 110 to 150, 160. Right? A senior cloud engineer is from 95 to 125 and so on. A senior security engineer with cloud chops, 121 to 160. Now, these are real numbers from offers I've seen this year. Why is this? Because you see, every single one of these 4 roles is more accountable for a single specific outcome. Now, platform owns DX, developer experience. SRE owns reliability, right? Cloud owns cost and architecture. Security owns the risk. Now, they're easier to budget for, they're easier to value. And guess what? They're also easier to promote. DevOps engineer, on the other hand, is a Swiss Army knife job. Companies are paying specialists more than generalists. Now, that's not just a hot take. That's the entire history of every industry ever. Now, I'm going to address the 3 strongest counter arguments because there are good ones, don't get me wrong, right? And I don't want to strawman this. 1, small companies still hire DevOps engineers. Yes, that's true. Series A startups, agencies, these smaller shops, right? They want one person to do everything. Fair, right? But if that's your end game, DevOps engineer is a fine title for the next 3 years. But understand what you're trading. You'll cap lower, you'll be on call more, and you even find it harder to move into a senior role at a bigger company because guess what? They don't have a senior DevOps engineer ladder anymore. 2, it's the same work, just renamed. So what does the title matter? Now, partially true, mostly false. The work has overlap, sure, but the deliverables are different. Platform engineer ships an internal developer platform, an SRE might ship some sort of SLO discipline, right? These are not interchangeable, and the title is what recruiters and the ATS systems search for. You can do all the right work and still be invisible if your title says the wrong thing. 3. Oh, I'm a contractor. I don't care about titles. I care about day rates. This is the one I almost agree with, almost. Right? Let me speak to that. Day rates for DevOps engineer contractors in the UK, I think, have come now to flatline, right? Or they've even gone slightly down for 2 years now. Platform and SRE day rates have gone up. This is the same answer, but as you can see in a different skin, right? Now, the counter arguments are real. They don't change the conclusion. They just narrow when the conclusion applies, which is most people in this video, right? So if you're not aiming at DevOps engineer, what do you aim at? 3 concrete moves this week. Number 1, look, pick a track. Ask yourself, do I care most about dev experience, reliability, cloud architecture, or security? Now, if you genuinely don't know, I'd say default to a platform engineer. It's the closest thing to DevOps, but with a more clear outcome. And it's also the fastest growing of the 4. And that skill set translates back into others later, as you'll see. Number 2, reposition your CV. If your CV says DevOps engineer today, change it. Not in a sneaky way, but if your last spec said DevOps, you can keep that line, but your headline, your LinkedIn title, or even software CV, your about section, point all of those at the track is picked. If a recruiter searches a platform engineer, they need to find you. Number 3, try to create a project that proves this track. For example, a platform. Try to build in your home lab or something an internal dev platform on Kubernetes, maybe with a self-service deployment. Now, for SRE, you might want to, create a service, instrument it, define some sort of SLO, run some sort of game day on it, run some chaos engineering, and so on. For cloud, you might want to build a multi-account AWS landing zone. If you can't, work with a friend, create multiple accounts, and so on. For security, maybe you want to harden a Kubernetes cluster end to end, and right up, guess what? Yes, the threat model. Now, if you want the deep version of the platform track specifically with the architecture, the ITV build, and the interview prep, now we have a free community that will go through the whole thing, right? And last but not least, look, I'm not saying the work is dying. The disciplines is not dying either. What is dying is the job title, bro. And there is a difference between aiming at a discipline that's growing and aiming at a label that you can say slowly being deprecated. Now, DevOps as a way of thinking will of course outlive all of us, no doubt. DevOps engineer as a job title probably will not outlive 2028, 2029, who knows? So pick the role title that survives. If you disagree, that's totally fair. The comments are open, right? Tell me when I'm wrong, or tell me where I'm wrong. Now, I read your comments and I'm happy to change my mind if someone showed me data I haven't seen. If you agreed, however, the next few videos or next video I may cover exactly how to pick between platform, SRE, and cloud as your track. Until then,